Alright, in this slide, we are going to learn how to multiply the radical expression and how we can simplify radical expression. So, when you multiply two radical expression, 3 radical 5x times 2 times radical 15x cubed. If there are numbers in front of the radicals, multiply them first. 3 times 2 is 6. After that, if the degree of the radicals are same, you can multiply the expression inside the radical under the same radical, 5x times 15x cubed. After that, let's simplify inside the radical. 5 times 15 is going to be 75. X times x cubed will be x to the power 4. To be able to simplify this expression, what are the factor of the 75? And one of the factor must be greatest perfect square. This is 25 times 3 times x to the power 4. After that, you can simplify each expression. First, how can I get 25 out of the root as a 5? Can you take the 3 out of the root? No, leave it. Can I take the x to the power 4 out of the root? Yes. So as a x squared, and the only number which is going to be left inside the radical is 3. So the answer will be, if you multiply this, 30 x squared radical 3 is going to be your answer. Write an expression for each product without perfect square factors in the radical. As I told you, if there are numbers in front of the radicals, multiply them. 4 times 1/2 is 2. Because their degree of the radical are same, we can multiply the expression inside the radical under the same radical. 21x cubed times 7x squared. If you combine this, if you multiply the expression inside the radical, you will get 21 times 7 is going to 147 x to the power 5. Now, 147 is not perfect square. This is the reason we need to factorize. One of the factor must be greatest perfect square. 49 times 3 are the factor of 147. X to the power 5 can be written x to the power 4 times x, because the degree of the radical is even, I am trying to get the highest even power. Now, when you simplify this, how can you get the 49 out of the root? Is it 7? Can you take the 3 out of the root? No. X to the power 4. How can you get it out of the root? As an x squared. You cannot get the x out of the root. So what is left inside the radical is 3x. When you simplify this, you will get the answer. Final answer will be 14x squared radical 3x. This is your answer. Next one. 2 times under the same radical 12 times x to the power 9 times 18 x to the power 5. When you try to factorize 12 and 18, you will get that 4 times 3 and 18 is 9 times 2. X to the power 9 times x to the power 5 is going to be x to the power 14. Now, let's simplify the expression. How can you get the 4 out of the root as a 2? Can you take the 3 out of the root? No. Can you take the 9 out of the root? Yes, as a 3. You cannot take the 2 out of the root, so leave it. What about x to the power 14? If you divide by 2, you will get x to the power 7. What is left inside the parentheses? Inside the radical, 3 times 2. If you simplify this, 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 3 is 12. X to the power 7. Radical 6. This is your answer. A company used the product radical 12x to the power 5 times 3 times radical 4y cubed. To the model, the amount of the materials needed to resurface a tennis court Write an expression for the area of the tennis courts without any perfect squares in the radical. This is the rectangle. Remember that to be able to find the rectangle, you need to multiply length times width. Let's say that this is length, this is width. To be able to find the area, you need to multiply radical 12x to the power 5 times radical, 3 times radical 4y cubed. If the degree of the radicals are same, you can multiply the expression under the same radical, 12x to the power 5, by the way 3 is over here, times 4 times y cubed. Now, let me simplify this expression. 3 times 12, how can I simplify this? 4 times 3. X to the power 5, you can write as a x to the power 4 times x, 4, and y cubed can be written y squared times y. Now, let's simplify each expression, each number. 3 times 4, how can you get the 4 out of the root as a 2? Can you get the 3 out of the root? No, leave it. So what expression is going to left inside the radical? 3. X to the power 4, how can you get it? How can you take the x to the power 4 out of the root as an x squared? X is going to be left. You cannot take the x out of the root. 4, you can take it as a 2. And y squared, you can take it as a y. And what is going to be left? Just y. So if you simplify this, 3 times 2 is 6. 6 times 2 is 12. X squared y radical 3xy. And this is your answer. And this is last slide. Write an expression for each product without perfect square factors in the radical. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen, if there are the constant number in front of the radical, multiply them first. 12 under the same radical, 3x cubed times 2x squared. If we simplify inside the radical, 3 times 2 is 6, x cubed times x to the power 2 is x to the power 5. 6 is non-perfect square. Even if you factorize, you cannot get any perfect square. So 12 times 6 radical, 12 times radical, 6 times x to the power 4 times x. X to the power 4 can be taken out of the root as an x squared, 12x squared in radical 6, x is your answer. Two x times x, these are the expression in front of the radicals. Multiply them. If you multiply, you will get 2x squared. Now, under the same radical, 2x to the power 5 times 8x. When you simplify inside the radical, you will get 16 times x to the power 6. 16 can be taken out of the root as a 4. X to the power 6 can be taken out of the root as a x cubed. Nothing left inside the radical. Now let's combine this. 4 times 2 is 8. X cubed times x to the power square is going to be x to the power 5. And this is your answer.